Karachi's international airport a few weeks ago has highlighted the Islamist might in the country. It's also raised questions about how Pakistan is dealing with it. At least 28 people died in an all-night battle between extremists and Pakistan's security forces. Now, one of the questions being asked in Pakistan is the teaching and recruitment into extremist groups of the young. Today, we head to the Khyber tribal area of Pakistan, a region through which NATO's supply route to Afghanistan passes, and where a group of militants have started a unique recruitment drive. The idea is to tell people that they can send their children to a religious seminary in the area or pay 3,000 euros to get an exemption. Some private schools, however, are fighting against this perceived onslaught on modern education, but seem to be losing the war because the government seems to be turning a blind eye towards the radicalization of Pakistan's youth. This report by our correspondents Taha Siddiqui, Kamal Abdurrahim and Haxi Mears-Belkin.
For the last 4 years, Azra Gul has been running this school on the outskirts of Peshawar. Funded by a foundation, the 100-plus students don't pay a penny to attend. But Gul has noticed that parents are increasingly reluctant to send their children to her school. This due in part to a military group nearby that started forcing parents to send their children to religious seminaries.
The parents are being threatened to send children to religious schools to control their minds, where they will be taught everything related to jihad and violence. They're doing so to accomplish their mission of sending them to fight, and that is why they're forcing children to attend seminaries.
As Azra struggles to keep attendance from dropping at her school, religious seminaries continue to flourish across the Khyber-Pakhtunkhwa province, as well as in the tribal belt close to the Afghanistan border. With its marbled floor and ambitious plans for expansion, this seminary has seen demand increase steadily ever since it opened its doors in the 90s. It's backed by a religious group known for its close ties with the Taliban. Students here are taught to memorize the Quran. Critical thinking is shunned in favor of rote learning. For the head cleric, the modern education system is a source of evil.
Schools do not teach about Islam, which is a problem. They focus on worldly affairs and Western education. But the people of this region give more importance to religion. The education system in schools is Western and is not in line with our value system or culture, and they want us to adopt that. But it will never happen.
The challenge of resisting pressure from militants is not the only concern for people in this region. A few kilometres from here is a government school that was bombed 2 years ago. Abandoned since the attack, the ruins stand as a constant reminder of the threat to secular education.
This was one of the rooms they blew up. This is the other one. As you can see, the windows were destroyed. The walls were damaged. The blast damaged all of this area, and even the roof. Afterwards, we installed a guard system. Actually, the Taliban are still in the surrounding areas. So I hired a guard, gave him a gun, and made this a guard room for him to keep an eye on any suspicious activity. The school is still under threat, and the Taliban can attack us again.
Haji Nadir Khan donated land to help found this school. He's been pleading with the authorities to rebuild it, but he realizes that any such help is unlikely to come.
The Taliban say they blow up schools, especially girls' ones, because they don't believe in this education system. They attack boys' schools too, but mostly girls, because they believe girls and female teachers are a cause of spreading immorality in the society.
Finding qualified teachers is also part of the problem. One of the teachers, Hussein, suffers from psychological trauma as a direct result of the bombing.
Until there is peace in this region, we will continue to live in fear and uncertainty. We are always thinking, what will happen if someone plants a bomb again? What if they attack us this time? But we teach despite such crises, because even the teachers have been kidnapped.
Despite the odds, students here are optimistic. Many of them dream about changing their society in the future.
Initially, we were scared, but I came back because I want to continue my education and become a teacher, so I can give others what I have learned.
In this city alone, more than 100 schools have been destroyed in the last decade. Only 12 have been rebuilt. Currently, spending on education accounts for less than 2% of the government's total annual budget. Given the circumstances, observers feel that radicalization of students through seminaries is almost inevitable.
Well, for more on this story, I'm joined by Jean-Luc Racinius, a senior fellow at the Center for Southeast Asia, the CNRS. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. As we saw very clearly towards the end of that report, it is an act of singular bravery on the part of girls, particularly, just to go to school in these areas.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, everyone has in mind the story of Malala Yousafzai, who has been shot at by Taliban in the Swat Valley 2 years ago, and who became kind of a global celebrity, kind of icon of the willingness of Pakistani girls to have education. Unfortunately, the question is still, of course, very crucial for the present and for the future of Pakistan. The documentary has shown that it's really a divide within the society, with the kind of brave schoolmaster whose school has been bombed on the one hand, and on the other hand, the traditional Islamist clerics saying that we don't want this kind of education. So it's up to the government to decide what really they are ready to do.
It is really a battle for the soul of Pakistan, for its future.
Certainly. It is. In a way, you know, it's a kind of a result of a focus which has been given to Islam as the basis of a nation, as opposed to India, and we have to go back to the time of partition in 1947, but also to the kind of radicalization proposed by General Zia in the 70s, when Pakistan was on the forefront of the US war against the Soviets in Afghanistan. All that is linked, but the result is that today, for millions, in fact, of Pakistani children and girls more than boys, because there is, of course, a different sex ratio as far as adequacy and primary education is concerned. So the government is trying to revive a policy which has been neglected for years, if not for decades. He promised to double the budget of education. Let's see if he will be able to do it. But we have to note also that primary education is a matter in the hands of a provincial government. So it's a task which is partly in the hand of the state, partly in the hand of the provincial government. A number of very courageous NGOs, international NGOs, but also Pakistani NGOs, are deep in the fight for saving the right to education. And it's really something absolutely crucial for the future of Pakistan.
And the fact that some of it lies in the hands of provincial governments is tricky when we're talking about parts of the country where the fight against Islamists has pretty well been lost.
Yes, yeah. Well, let's hope that it's not fully lost. But certainly it's more intricate, because it's also a matter of plurilingualism in Pakistan, of course. Everyone has not the same mother tongue. But obviously, on a matter as crucial as that, the impetus has to come from the higher seat of power, which is really the central government. So now it will be up to the new Prime Minister, Nawaz Sharif, who is here now since 2013, to take really that very seriously. It was not the case in the past, including when he was himself Prime Minister. The Pakistani elite has cared for higher education for their own children, but have really neglected basic education for the common man, for the poor peasant, for the landless laborer, boy, girls. And in the general challenge raised by Pakistani Taliban, but also by radical Sunni groups who are beyond the border area close to Afghanistan, in the deep earth of Pakistan, in the province of Punjab. It's an extremely intricate topic, because the correlation between education, local power, the relationship between the party in power and the Islamist party, all that is embedded, and all that, of course, make the matter extremely intricate.
Jean-Luc Racine, thank you very much with a look there at the question of education in Pakistan. Thank you for having been our guest. It is 56 minutes past 2. We're going to take a quick break, but I'll be right back with the headlines. Do stay with us.